All right, hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on some paperclip bookmarks again. This was the very first one I made, and I wanted to start playing with being able to see through the bookmark. So I did that one, and you can see there's some writing here on the vellum that I used, or sorry, not the vellum, the transparency. And I thought that would be really fun to add some extra texture and stuff, but then I realized I kind of want to be able to see through it a little bit better so that I can actually see the words, because that was kind of the whole point. So this one was just really simple. And then I did this one, which is the same thing, only I used just clear transparency here instead of one that had been printed on. And then I wanted to play a little bit with the shape. So this one I used my hole punch and I added a little pocket on the top. And then I wanted to see if I could get away with more. So I did 2 on this one. And I think that's really fun, very cool, but I got kind of tired of trying with these stickers. So I wanted to try something else instead. And then I ended up with this one. And this is the one that I'm going to show you how to make today. So you can see we have a little window here, and then I made some tuck spots for some extra ephemera at the top, and then made a little dangle for it. So here I have just some extra scrapbook paper. You can do this in really any size you want to. Oh, this isn't the one I wanted. Sorry about that. This is the one I wanted. So you can do these, like I said, any size you want, but I'm going to make mine about 2 inches. And then this, I'm not sure. I think it's about maybe 8, maybe 9 inches. Hold on. I have a ruler somewhere. I just had it. Here we go. So I can tell you. This is just an off scrap. So yeah, it's 9 inches. Like I said, though, you can use any size that you want. And I'm going to just fold this over in half. And then round the corners. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and insert the paper clip. And that's just so that I know where I can, like how far up I can cut. So I'm just gonna cut off a piece of this. This is just some grid paper that I tea stained. I want to use a thinner paper for the paper clip. And the reason I do that is because when I go to attach it to this heavier cardstock, this will adhere really easily and it won't make it won't make the edges of this paper pull up, because if the edges of this paper pull up from this paper, sometimes it can be hard to get your bookmark on. So I always use a thinner piece of paper to attach it. If you haven't seen my other paperclip bookmark video, I will link that down below in case you want to check it out. And that one explains the putting together of these a little bit better. This one I'm going to kind of rush through because I want to show you the other things. And I'm going to leave, I don't know, maybe about 1/4 inch free there. But so what that did was it just made it really easy for me to go ahead and measure and cut the holes that I want. I also think on this one I'm going to do the front and the back, just because I think that's a little more fun. So I'm going to measure up 1/4 inch. I'm using my mat to measure that. And I'm just going to line up, whoop, like so. And then I'm going to come 1/4 of an inch here. So I'm lining up the cardstock with the quarter line here. I'm lining this up with the quarter line, and then I'm coming 1/4 of an inch in on either one. And I'm just going to make a line. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it will or not. But so you can see, like, here's the 3 inches. I'm going to come to the 1/4 here and the 1/4 there, right? Now this is, I'm going to make 2 windows on this one on the front and one on the back. And the one on the front, I want to keep a little bit smaller so that I have room to put in the pockets. And I want to know how far up I can go on the back panel. So I'm just going to go here. So that's about 3/4. So I'll go to 2.5 inches on this side. Okay, so now that I have those measured out, I'm just going to use my X-Acto blade and my metal ruler to cut out these squares. Okay, so I just wanted to show you really quickly. You can see here, well, I hope you can see. You can see here and here, I didn't cut quite straight on the first go around. That's just because I wasn't pressing down hard enough on the metal ruler. Sorry. But that's going to be perfectly okay because we are going to fix that. So really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink all the edges. Okay, so totally optional. I'm going to show you, so here on the back, I'm going to show you what I would do just to fix that instead of having to, actually, no, I'll do it the other way. So here on the front, I'll leave that so I can show you how I would fix that. And then the other option here is for me to just continue that cut from before to even it out. And the reason I'm doing it on the back side is because it doesn't matter, the sizing doesn't matter as much on that side. Okay, so we have our template, front, back. And now what I want to do, put my ink away, is I'm going to take this transparency and I'm just going to mark out where I want to make, what size I want to make this. And then I'm going to set this to the side for a second. And I'm just going to put an extra piece of scrap paper under there. So I don't mind making these marks because you can't really see on the inside of the paper clips once all is said and done. But you could just like cut them out. You don't have to do that whole part of it if you don't want to. I just grabbed the wrong thing. Okay, so you can see in this one, I did, well, hopefully you can, I did use a texture paste with the stencil on that one. The only problem with that is it doesn't want to stay stuck down 100% because I added dimension with that. So if you're going to do that, maybe try to cut it and attach it before the modeling paste has had time to dry. And then maybe, you know, it won't be a problem, but it's the same thing as with the paper that I use for the Paperclip bookmark. This now doesn't lay flat, so there's a little bit of an edge right there, and that can sometimes be harsh on some of your pages, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to use some white gesso on this one, but you can also use stickers. That's acrylic marker, so you can use acrylic marker. That's what I did in this one here. And then you can also use permanent marker. This will stay on there as long as you don't get any other alcohol on it. But I'm going to use the white gesso. I'm just going to grab one of my stencils here. And I'm just going to go over. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We got a little bit of a pattern on there, and I'm just going to let this sit off to the side to dry for a second, and we'll start working on the pockets. Okay, so remember, this is the front, this is the back. So we're going to put some pockets up here. Okay, so for the pockets, this is what I do, and I think I'm going to go with, let me see. I have this here, which would look cute. So I might do that. And then I want something that's going to be a little darker than that, just to offset it so you can really tell the difference between the two. Do these two mesh too much? Yeah, I think that's a little too close. Let's see. I also have, I don't like the yellow with that pink. No. Let's see. I have some in my just tea stain. Yeah, I think that'll work good. Okay, so move these two off for a second. Since we know that I cut the bookmark 2 inches wide, we're just going to cut this at 2 inches wide. Okay, so I want 3 pockets out of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them. I'm going to do this one at 1 inch. And then I want another one of these at 2 inches. And then this one, I want a 1.5 inch. Okay. And then for this one, all I have to do is put this on here and put it at a diagonal. Well, nope, I want the other diagonal. I want it this way. So I'm tilting to the left on this one. So that gives me that. And then I'll take this one, and this one I want to tilt to the right. And I'm just lining those corners up. That bent a little bit. Doesn't usually. And then this one, I'm going to tilt to the left again, although I think this one probably doesn't matter because it's a square. So you're going to get just 2 triangles anyway. So, right there. Seems to be when I'm pulling down this way, it's bunching up for some reason. That doesn't usually happen. But since these are exactly the same, that is fine. Okay, and then this will go like so. Yes? I like the look of this better than the first one that I did. So let me just take out these little bits of ephemera so you can see. So this one, I put them all at exactly the same angle. And you can absolutely do that if you want. You just wouldn't go from corner to corner. You'd go from corner to corner to half an inch up, since these are half an inch difference in size. Okay, let me go ahead and ink these up. Again, using that vintage photo. You could put notches in these as well if you want, but there's such small pockets, I don't feel like they're necessary. Whoops. Oh no. Well, that line's going to be a little dark. Too bad. I accidentally grabbed my black dauber because I was using that on a different one. That's okay. I'm actually going to trade this one out for the other one that I cut out with it, because they're exactly the same thing. And I won't have accidentally put black on there. I can use that one for another one. Okay, now I'm just going to glue these together. Okay, so our base is done there. Now I will attach the insides of these. Okay, so see here where this one is, it's where I cut off a little bit extra. I'm just going to be careful to make sure I get glue really lightly. Don't put too much, but really lightly right up to that line. And that will keep it together. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for just a second, just to make sure that this is not spewing out any extra glue, so that when we go to glue this part down, it won't just stick the whole thing together. So I'm going to give that just a second. And then we're just going to decorate it. So personally, let me see here if I can. I want this to be a little bit more visible than it is. That's fine. I'm just going to use my Posca marker to fill it in a little bit. And I did also forget to mention, if you wanted to do the sewing before you put the two halves together. I don't have a sewing machine, so that's not an option for me, but I'm going to add some faux stitching around the edges. But yeah, before you attach the paper clip fully, then you should do that if you want to actually sew. So I'm just going to quickly fill this in. I'm going to do my faux stitching, and then I'll show you guys how I make my tassels. And I really want to know better how to make tassels, but I haven't had the time to look or anything. If any of y'all have tutorials that you've watched that you found very helpful, I'd super appreciate if you could let me know. But yeah, I'm just going to show you my really quick and easy way of making tassels. Okay, so the bookmark's technically done. I apparently forgot to hit record. I don't know how that happened, but apparently I did. So I went ahead and added my tassel. I am going to still walk you guys through that, but this is our finished bookmark. And I just did the same thing to the back that I did to the front, and then I continued this pattern up onto these. You can kind of decorate it any way you want to, You could use, you know, tickets or little number strips or butterflies, you know, whatever you do. But I kind of am okay keeping this a little more simple because we put the ephemera in it. So there's that. And then I will quickly walk you through how I do the tassel. So this can be a little more difficult when you're using the laces and stuff, just because they're more unruly. But I'm just going to show you with some embroidery thread and some string here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little loop at the top. One thing you do want to keep in mind, it's not that big of a deal with this, but let me see if I can show you really quick. So this other one that I made the loop just a little bit too small, and so it was really hard to fit this bulky lace through it. I did manage to do it, but that is something you want to keep in mind. So as you can see on this one, I made the loop much longer, maybe even a little too long on this one, but I'm okay with it. It's fine. It's just something fun to play with. I love the textures. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Oh, where did I just put my string? Okay, there it is. Fell into my lap because I was playing with the other one. So I've just got that knotted there. You can do a double knot if you want. I have not found that it is necessary, but I'm just going to split that. And then finding the rough middle of your laces or threads, put that in there. And then I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to make another knot. Okay, so now that that's done, this step is optional, but I find it helps a lot for the shape. I'm just going to take a bead. This one's probably a little fancier than you want to use because it's not going to be seen at the end. But it really does help with the shape of the tassel, I've found. So if you can find one that's maybe a little, you know, these are actually technically really cheap, but they're still nice looking. So I wouldn't use ones that are too nice looking. We'll just put it that way. And then I'm going to move that up so that it's sitting right underneath there. And then I'm going to do another knot just to keep that in place. Like so. Then I'm going to take these and fold them over. Oops, come in. And I'm trying to keep the main string here separate. So I'm going to fold them over that little ball, give it a little bit of a smush, and then I'm going to start wrapping these. So I usually do 2 or 3 wraps that they're now like this. And then I'm going to rough find the middle again. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll wrap this, oops, one under this way and then one under on the other side. I hope this is making sense to you guys. I'm definitely by no means an expert at this. Like I said, if you even know a better way to do it than I'm doing it, I would love to know. And then I'm just going to make another knot. And once more for good measure. This string I probably don't need to do double knots on that much. But like this one that I used to do the other, it can get a little finicky. And then you just want to move the strings around a little bit until you don't have the gaps. So then you have, finicky, finicky. Just keep playing with the strings until it covers everything up. So there. And then you can trim off the ends if you want them to be all the same size. I think I made that a little too tight. But yeah, you can trim off if you want them to be all the same length. For something like this one, I probably would trim it off. But for something like this one, that's kind of basically just exactly how I want it. I want all different lengths, all different sizes. You can tie beads onto some of them so that you get even more texture. I might do that. But if I do, I'll be doing it off camera. So yeah, there you have it. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below, and I will see you guys on Monday for the next video. Bye.